everyone. As promised, I have come back to show you how I do my clasp for my spiral rope necklace. I just finished making the main necklace part of it, so with the rope. So now I'm going to show you how to do the button. So here is the necklace that I have done. You can see it's all spiraled around. Hi Leslie, hope you're having a good day. So there is the spiral rope necklace that I've made. So now I'm going to show you how to do the clasp. And yes, it took me about 4 hours or so to make, 4 to 5, somewhere in there. And that's pretty typical. It's a lot of work, but as you can see, it looks really pretty. So now I'm going to do the button. So again, I have the shank button that I've picked out, and you can see there's a shank. The shank on it. Okay, so what I do to start, I have my thread on here already, and my needle is threaded. 1 second here. It's getting tangled. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to thread several beads on here. These are my 8s, and you can pick whichever color. I like to use the core beads, so I'm going to use the white beads instead of the off-white beads for my clasp. So I'm going to put on about 5 of the white beads. I'm going to slide them down to the end, like so. And then I'm going to slide my shank button onto my needle. And thread it and slide it all the way down, like so. Then I'm going to add 5 more of these beads, and you can use more beads if you want your clasp to be a little bit longer. You can use less, but usually at least 4 to 5 beads on each side is best to start. So now, and I've slid those down here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle through just the core beads. I'm going to count 4 beads back into the core. I'm going to slide my needle through. And pull it out. So now I've got the start of my clasp here. You can see, but you can see it's kind of, the beads are kind of hanging loosely on here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the new beads that I just put on. So as I said, I went down through 4 of the core beads. So now I'm going to go up through 3 of the core beads, and then put my needle starting through the new beads that I've added for the clasp. Like so. And then we're going to continue on doing that. And I'm going to go through my button with my needle. And then continue down the other beads I just added for the clasp down the other side. And there was 5 of them. And now I'm going to go through 3 core beads out the other end. And what this is doing is basically it's stiffening the clasp so that the clasp beads that I added on aren't going to be too loose. Hi Lucy, I hope you're doing well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, now that I've gone through 3 core beads, I'm going to go back through around and do 2 core beads. And then up into the 5 beads that I added on one side. And you'll see as I'm going through here that it's stiffening up the beads that I put in for the clasp to make the clasp nice and sturdy so that the beads aren't sliding around and will hold. And now I'm going to slide my needle through the button. Hi Gay, hope you're having a good day. And now I'm going to slide my needle down through the other 5 clasp beads that I added. You can see it's getting stronger there. I'm going to go through 2 core beads. You can see that it's getting, my clasp is getting stiffer here. The beads are getting stronger on there, not loose. So now I'm going to go through, gone through 2 core beads now down. Now I'm going to go up 1 core bead and then into the beads I added for the clasp. And then through the button. And down the other side of the 5 beads I added for the clasp on the other side. And then I'm going to go down through. You can see how nice and stiff things are here now. So now I'm going to go down through 4 core beads to start. And you see how nice and stiff this is now? All the beads I put in that were really loose, now they're in there nice and tight. The beads aren't going anywhere. So I've gone down through these 4 core beads, but I'm going to go down through a few more in the core just to keep the thread in there nice and tight. Make sure nothing is going to be moving away. And this just basically tightens everything up. So I'm going to go through a few more core beads, and only the core beads. See how it's all in there nice and tight? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut, this end is done, I'm going to cut this thread off. Now I'm going to do the other side. Now the other side already has some thread on it, some working thread from the tail, but I'm going to add what I just used onto here. So I'm going to show you just so for the sake of demonstration, so you can see how I do a surgeon's knot, which I had talked about before when I was starting the necklace and talking about adding thread. So a surgeon's knot, you cross the ends, you put one end under 3 times, 1, 2, 3, pull it up, and then you're going to cross the two ends again together and put one underneath the other to make a loop. And then pull it tight. Now what I like to do, you can see I've got these little ends here. What I like to do is I pull on the working thread on both to tighten it, and also just to make sure that the knot is, and the knot is pretty tiny, so it's going to fit through the beads. It's not going to be a problem. Hi Leanne, hope you're having a good day. And then what I'm going to do is you can see there's like these little tails on either end. I'm going to just cut those off. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the loop to go around, that this button clasp is going to fit into. So I am going to add this part. You also just have to kind of eyeball as you're doing it. So I'm going to start with 5 beads on my needle, slide them down to the end, and I'm going to add another 5. Again, slide them down. So obviously you want your loop to go over the button, so I'm going to need to add more beads. So I'm going to add another 5 more. And then what I like to do so that I don't have too many beads on here, and so my button hole isn't too big but it's not too small, what I like to do is I like to take the beads I've just put on here and just kind of go like that, make like a little on my bead mat and go like, basically make a loop just to see how big or small it is, to see if I need more beads. Let me pull this back a bit so you can see a little better. You can see probably not enough, certainly not enough to go through. So I'm going to add 5 more beads. And then again, I'm going to test and see how big or small the loop is. Again, that's a little too small, so I'm going to add 5 more. And that actually may be just enough. Again, you just have to kind of eyeball it. It depends on the number of beads you use, depends on the size of the button that you're going to use. So now I've made a little loop down there just to see how this will fit, and it looks like it's gonna fit okay through there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna basically do the same thing I did on the other side, except I'm not going through a button because the button's there. I'm just stiffening up the beads here to make a loop. So here are all the beads I just added in. I am going to go count in the core, down, back 4 beads, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And put my needle through. And again, this is going to stiffen up the loop. And again, this is another way too of looking to see, is this loop big enough to fit your button or not? Or is it too small, too big? So you can hold your thread a bit that way, and then just try and thread this through and see how it looks, how it works, just to be sure before you tighten things up. And that looks like it's going through just fine. So now I've gone through down 4 of the core beads, and I'm going to go up 3, and then into the beads I'm making for the loop to the button loop. And I'm going to just continue my needle all the way through those. Hi Andrea, hope you're having a good day. And as I'm stitching through all these beads, it's basically tightening them up, stiffening them up so that they will hold the button and turn into a really nice clasp. Simple, easy, and pretty. Okay, so now I'm finishing through the beads that I added. And now I'm going to go down 3 core beads. And now I'm going to go up 2 core beads and into the clasp beads. You can see how things are starting to stiffen up in there. The beads aren't as loose as they were before. When you're doing this too, you have to be careful that you're going through each and every bead, that you don't miss one, so that your clasp will hold tight. Now I'm going to go down 2 core beads. Then I'm going to go up 1 core bead and into the loop. And this is the last time that I have to go into the loop, because by then everything should be nice and strong, tight enough that nothing is going to come apart. Now I'm going to go through all those beads again for the loop. You can see it's I'm going through each and every bead. Okay, now I've every bead that I've added for the loops. So now what I'm going to do is go down 4 core beads, you can see how nice and stiff that is here now. None of the beads are moving around. Hi Meg, hope you're having a great day. Hi Kimmy. So, and I'm going to continue on down through my 4 core beads. For those of you just turning in, this is the tail end of the second part of demonstration that I did, hi Tina, that I did earlier this week with my spiral rope necklace, which takes a while. The necklace is done, but I want to show you how I did my my clasp. So I'm going to continue down a few more core beads here, just to keep the thread, make sure everything is in there nice and tight. Do a few more. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this working thread and done. I'm going to loop this together so you can see. And there it is. So with this kind of necklace, you can wear them with this in the back as a clasp, or you can wear it like this with the focal, as a focal too. Depends on what you prefer. So, but necklace is done. There it is. I hope you have a great rest of the day, great weekend. Stay safe and healthy everyone. Bye. Thanks for watching.